Jazzcast Pros.
In this week's episode, I'm tackling something I know a lot of you might be curious about: how to figure out who to listen to when it comes to sleep advice online. Whether you're Googling for answers or trying the newest viral social video, the internet is a big place, and everyone seems to have an opinion or trick on sleep. So how do you sort out the real experts from the rest? To know what will work and won't, stay with me. Hello, my fellow sleep enthusiasts. Welcome back to another episode of the Doze Podcast. I'm your host, Soda Kuczkowski, your trusted sleep coach and guide, here to help you optimize your day so that you can take back your night. Let me start by asking you this. Have you ever been scrolling on TikTok or Instagram and come across someone sharing a sleep hack? Or watch a YouTube video dedicated to creating the perfect bedtime routine? Or just scrolled through the web, clicking on article after article, trying to figure out why you aren't sleeping that great? It's easy to get overwhelmed. There are tons of people out there giving advice on sleep, from influencers to health professionals. So how do you know who to listen to? The first thing to understand is that sleep is a universal need, yet it's incredibly personal and unique to you. What works for one person may not work for you. That's why today's episode is all about helping you navigate the world of sleep advice and to find what to try, what to skip, and to help you pave a more direct path to finding the answers you're looking for to improve your sleep. I want you to think about it in this way. Imagine you're trying to build a house, but instead of using a blueprint from a certified architect, you use one drawn by a baker. Now, sure, a baker might be great at creating a design, but their expertise doesn't translate to building a stable and safe structure. Similarly, following health advice from someone outside their field of expertise can lead to shaky and often unreliable results, sometimes leaving you worse off than when you started. That is not to say I don't appreciate the entertainment of it all. You know, it started off all fun and innocent, but there is a lot of information circulating, especially when something piques the interest of the masses, and sleep is starting to have its moment. You know, we have the younger generation to thank for prioritizing self-care and helping us to appreciate slowing down, but many are also responsible for what can only be labeled as nonsense when it comes to some health advice that you can find online. You know, there's a big difference between the functional medicine doctors of the world, like Dr. Mark Hyman, emphasizing food as medicine, and someone who's famous for dancing or applying makeup with no training telling you how to fix your sleep. Even if someone has their own subjective experience and their struggle may be relevant and it creates a sense of community, their advice will most likely fall short in really helping you beyond a one-off night. It may really be more of a placebo effect than anything. You need real science that is applied as intended to implement real change and to get lasting results. So that's to say, yes, there is a ton of information out there, but remember, not all of it is credible. Look for advice from reputable sources, ideally backed by scientific research, and be wary of quick fixes or products that promise miraculous results. It's not that these people don't have good intentions, but sleep is a specialized field. You should be cautious about where your sleep tips are coming from. Also, just because someone works in health doesn't mean that they know about sleep. You know, I talked about this extensively in episode 2, Your Doctor Doesn't Sleep Well Either. I mean, I have the utmost respect for physicians and nutritionists and personal trainers, but when it comes to understanding sleep, it's a whole different ballgame. I've had all as clients, and they'll be the first one to tell you that they get little to no training, which is why it concerns me when I see some online leaning into giving advice on this area of health that they don't have any training in. I mean, you can have an opinion, you can share your experiences, but that is where it stops. And you need to bring in an expert, interview them for what they know and what they can add to the conversation. I've also seen this pop up in other ways over the past few years, especially in mainstream publications or talk shows. You know, they'll interview someone or they'll get a quote, and it's always from someone who's not a sleep professional or even in the area of sleep. Or if they are, they might be more research-based, not working directly with patients, you know, and it's not their area of study. Just as an example, I know a sleep researcher in geriatric sleep that's dealing with the elderly and age-related sleep, talking about teen sleep or endorsing a sleep product that has nothing to do with their area of expertise. It can often be misleading, right? This is why mistrust has also escalated, because at least influencers admit that they're not an expert, which essentially makes them more trustworthy because some health professionals, especially nurses, lean into a few letters behind their name that do not qualify them to tell you anything about your sleep. You know, I have yet to meet a nurse that sleeps well themselves, which is why I advocate heavily for their training in sleep health. So you want to look for relevant qualifications and be wary of those offering sleep solutions outside their area of expertise. This has become a big trend, especially in pediatric and child sleep, and I can't say this enough. They receive no training, zero, nothing. So look for those who have taken extensive programs and also work collaboratively with medical sleep professionals. So that's to say, watch out for those sleep solutions, especially from sources that might not be in the know. True sleep improvement is usually more about a steady journey, not an overnight fix. Remember, the solutions that work are backed up by research, not just personal anecdotes. And it's okay to be a bit critical. If something sounds too good to be true, you know what they say. It probably is. And when in doubt, reach out to a sleep professional that is focused in the area that you're looking for. I was the instructor for 6 years for a global certification program, and one thing that I don't agree with is generalists. Sleep is so multifaceted and layered. If your sleep problems are hormone-related, for instance, speak to a sleep professional or coach whose sole focus is that. You also want to look for how much training a sleep coach has had. There's so many programs that are popping up. I've been in this field for close to 18 years, and I learn something new every day. And I still collaborate with professionals when it's outside my scope. I work as a resource in many cases because I can't know it all. What we know about our health, especially sleep, continues to evolve, so make sure the advice you're receiving isn't also dated. Many health professionals, because of time constraints, fail to learn or continue learning and understand how their field has grown, which is another reason what you read and what your doctor tells you may be mismatched. Which brings me to another point. There's a conversation that has to be had about medical sleep and ruling out a sleep disorder. So many primary care doctors still fail to ask and see how sleep is important and connected to all the areas of health. So you have to advocate for yourself and ask, does this work for me? And am I getting the help that I want? You cannot just sleep hygiene habit your way to better sleep if there's a breathing or neurological sleep disorder present that isn't being addressed. It's, again, that example that I used previously about designing a home, but forgetting to add windows so that you can breathe, or installing utilities so that it can keep you sheltered and protected from the outside elements in the right way. You want to work with someone willing to guide you through the maze of information, and if they do not know, to point you in the right direction, not to just waste your time or money and energy on products, tests, or habits that do not make it better than when you started. Which is to say, if you struggle, think about getting professional help, but the right help. Seek advice from sleep professionals if you're struggling. Sleep disorders are real and treatable. Sometimes the best advice comes from a tailored approach designed by a professional who understands the intricacies of sleep and creates it based on your unique challenges and goals. And as for getting help on your own, yes, while there are many videos and reels and quick fixes and tricks floating around online, they're often taking what is researched and known out of context and not sharing it in its entirety, meaning key details are left out. So for instance, take the Sleepy Girl cocktail. Now, while yes, magnesium can help with sleep, there are variations of magnesium, some meant for energy that could keep you up. And while the information says to use tart cherry juice, specifically it's Mount Morency cherries that contain natural melatonin. And from what we know, it's just a shot that's needed, meaning 2 ounces or less, not the 4 ounces or half a cup that's suggested. Now, these tricks may work for some, but often what they do is they fall short and they have, again, more of that placebo effect. And just as a side note, drinking right before bed can lead to more frequent bathroom trips at night or a surge in blood sugar, causing you to wake up as well if you don't get one that's natural without those added sugars. And those that are diabetic should be careful when doing something like this. I think it's important to note as well that the original post included an update saying it triggered her anxiety and caused GI, those stomach issues, in many who tried it. So there's that. And there have been many other claims, like sleeping with your socks on. But surprise, normal core body temperature varies from individual to individual and can be influenced by things like your age, activity, the time of day. Women also tend to have higher body temperature than men, and younger people tend to have higher temperature than older folks. Height and weight can also affect body temperature, and there was a 2020 research study that showed that our body temperature has actually dropped and gotten cooler over the last 2 centuries. So again, this tip is not for everyone. It may be a different thing to try, but remember, sleep is a natural biological process. It doesn't need elaborate planning or tricks. The single most important thing you can do is to listen to your body. It will tell you everything that you need to know. We've gotten so past that, which is what has caused the circadian misalignment or this feeling of tiredness or feeling off for most. To feel your best, skip the fads and get back to the basics. All right, friends, that's all I have for you today. Remember that your sleep journey is unique. What works for others may not work for you, and that's okay. The key is to understand your own sleep needs and create a space to understand what supports you. Until next time, thank you for listening. I'm back every Wednesday with a new episode, ready to share my knowledge and empower you to take control of your sleep. If you've enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to the Doze Podcast and drop a comment to let me know what you want to learn more about to improve your sleep. I still have lots to share with you as we work together towards creating solutions around your unique sleep challenges and needs. Until then, remember, you are pure potential if you change how well you sleep.